In a small collection space, no one can hear you scream. Here's your look at the new Hiya Toys Alien Big Chap Exquisite Mini. Exquisite Mini is a new standard setting series for 1/18th scale, featuring super articulation action figures under Hiya Toys. Before we see what this alien is all about, let me first thank the folks over at Hiya Toys that provided the sample of the Alien Big Chap Exquisite Mini that we could have a look at in this review. Let's go ahead and grab the ruler now. Put it right to the very top of the Big Chap alien. He seems to be a little over 5 inches in height or almost 13 centimeters tall. Like with earlier Exquisite Minis that we've looked at here on this channel, the Big Chap comes included with a display stand. Let's pick that up right now. Once again, we've got that metallic floor-graded look that all the other aliens have come included with, and like with the other aliens as well, it has one peg that can attach to the underside of Big Chap's foot. If we flip the stand upside down, you probably already know where this is going. There's slots located on either side of this rectangular display stand. Because to come included with it, you get yourself these eye brackets. The whole idea, and I know for people that have seen these already, you guys already know which direction this is going to go, but the whole idea for those new people collecting Hiya Toys is that you can take these eye brackets like that. I'm just going to attach it on this one side for the time being. And if you have yourself a secondary display stand, we're just going to pretend we have one right here, you can actually attach the two and increase the size of your diorama display. Now, they have done this also with their Injustice 2, and they've also done it with their Predators. So if you are picking up those other figures too, they're all universally attached. So you really can take those other display stands and attach them the exact same way as what we're doing right here. Love these display stands. I'm glad to see they continue to use these. The figure also comes included with some swappable hands, which we'll look at right now. The hands really aren't that much different from the hands that he comes included with in the sockets of his forearms. In fact, grabbing the figure right now, I'll show you guys the difference between the two hands. If anything, you could say that the new hands that we swapped them out to slightly are further apart. You can see there's a gap a little bit bigger in the middle than the ones that are stock with the figure when you get it out of the packaging. It's really not too much that changes between the hands, and really, ideally, either one of the hands would be fine for displaying the figure with. Getting a closer look now at the Big Chap, this was one I was the most excited to see from Hiya Toys. This gives us the classic look of the 79 alien. And it really does have a nice look to it. It still has that smokier top dome to it, so you can actually see almost straight through it and make out the skull of the alien underneath. Really nice looking head sculpt. It's a little fuller of the head than what we would get with the other aliens we looked at before. And like with the other aliens, you can open up the mouth, and inside, a little easier to get access to, there's a smaller interior jaw that extends out, making use of some nice off-white coloring. Personally, I like to prefer to display it with the mouth closed myself. And again, it's a really nice representation of the alien that we got from the classic movie. Its body proportions are a little more human, being the fact that there would have been a character, an actor, inside the suit. So like its torso, for example, is a little bit bigger than your traditional alien. It doesn't taper off necessarily with a very narrow waistline. It's very straight all the way straight through. And it does have some really great looking sculpt and equally nice paint that's been added to it. It sort of starts what I'm guessing to be like black plastic, but then added over top of it is sort of this swamp green coloring. You see more of it when it comes to the shoulder area, the elbow area of the alien, and a little bit happening here in the ribcage section of the creature as well. Of course, it does have the long tubes here on the back. It does also have that one fin that's on the top, sort of a front dorsal fin of a shark. Now, it does cause a little bit of difficulty when it comes to the articulation of the figure. It doesn't look as if you can remove it, so it's permanently sculpted into the torso of the alien. So when it comes, again, the articulation, you're not going to really be able to bring the alien's head back too far, but you still get a lot of articulation, which we'll talk more about in a second. As for the lower legs, now here's the thing about the legs. These drop down, so if it looks a little strange and out of place that he has these gaps underneath and the bells, sort of has dinner bell legs happening, the reasoning why they drop down like this is comes to the articulation, so you can be able to move the legs forward and back. Naturally, they don't look this way, and you can just bring the legs back up and bring them back to the sockets. Give you a nice, more cleaner looking finish. There's the bottoms of its feet, again bringing in some additional swamp green coloring. And like with all the other Exquisite Minis we've looked at before, there's peg holes in the underside of the Big Chap's feet. So there is posability, or at least the option to put it in a better pose than just having it standing straight, like I did at the beginning of this review. does have the tail that's on the back. Now the tail is wireframe, which is nice to see. So you can actually manipulate the tail, and it certainly helps, especially for an alien of this size. It adds to certainly serve as almost like a third leg of a tripod, and really helps the figure to stand upright. Talking about the articulation here on Big Chap, I'm going to start things off first with its head sculpt. Once again, spending a little bit of time looking at the head sculpt. Boy, that looks great. Really, really happy with the way that this looks. Sort of has an off shape to the face, the way that the original suit was, and not necessarily kind of the Big Chap artwork we would see later on. The head sculpt is on a ball joint, and it's not actually on a ball joint here where the head is attached to a ball joint. Rather, instead, the ball is actually at the base of the neck. So it can move the head back and forth this way. You can move it up, you can also move it down, and you can also angle it back and forth as well. The arms are on individual hinge joints. They're a little on the tighter side, I noticed on this figure, but you can still easily bring them out at 90 degrees. And you can also take then the arms and rotate them all the way around. The figure does have a single hinge in the elbow. It's rather interesting too when you're looking at the hinge joint. What they did was to conceal the joint behind the spike of the elbow. But there's the hinge joint right there. It does somewhat prevent, you can still get a straight arm, but you sort of have to get it just underneath. You sort of have to kind of fight with that spike on the end of the elbow here. But it does hinge back and forth, so you can either have a straight arm on the alien, or again, you can bend the elbow. And sort of when you bend it, as you can see, it sort of recesses itself inside the elbow area. Hands rotate all the way around, and they're not on hinges. So when you are rotating back and forth this way, you'll notice that they start to come free. I mean, they're basically just pegged in place. The upper torso is on a ball joint. Nice to see that they still continue to do that with their aliens. The legs split out, as already mentioned. They do drop down, and it's only just, again, to allow the legs to go forward and back this way. And just pop those back in place. The figure does have a double hinge on the knees, and when it comes to the feet, not only do they hinge back and forth this way, but you can also ankle pivot them, and the Big Chap does also have toe articulation. It's really impressive to see that a figure of this size does possess toe articulation. Overall, a really nice looking alien figure. Doesn't have much in the way of accessories. I don't feel it really needed accessories to start off with. I mean, again, you can get yourself the display stand, plug in the feet. There's, just want to show you what it looks like. There's the peg and there's the hole. Just plug it to the underside of Big Chap's foot. And it may even involve you having to put it down on a surface. Let's just move it into the camera so you can actually see what's going on here. Just, again, plug it onto the peg. There we go. And you can have the Big Chap standing either like this, or again, you can put it in a more dynamic pose, really, if you want to. And again, because it does have the adjustable tail, the tail certainly helps to serve as like that third leg to help stabilize the alien when you have it on display. Now, either you can have it standing upright like this, or like I did at the beginning of this review, you can also bend the knees too if you want to have it more of a dynamic pose. Not much in the way of accessories for Big Chap, but overall a really nice Exquisite Mini from the folks over at Hiya Toys. Normally, I may be one to put my Exquisite Mini aliens in more crouching poses, but I seem to make the exception to the rule when it comes to the Big Chap. For some reason, just because I consider an actor inside the suit is usually why I put the Big Chap above all other aliens in more of a standing pose. And you can easily accommodate that thanks to, again, the display stand that Hiya Toys packs along with these figures. Not to mention, again, it does have that wireframe tail that really does come in handy when it comes to stabilizing the figure, preventing it from falling over. I really like the look of Big Chap. It doesn't have a lot of coloring going for it, nor would I expect a lot of bright colors for any real alien that Hiya Toys put out. The colors are subtle. The majority of its body being all black, they just subtly added that little bit of swamp green to only some of the aspects of the body. Really gives a nice contrasting colors. I really, again, like the way that they've smoked and frosted the top of its dome, where you can still see the skull that's on the inside, but it's not as obvious as maybe what we would get with like the Aliens Exquisite Minis. Yes, overall, a really nice looking Big Chap. If you are one that likes to collect the smaller scale figures as opposed to like that 6 to 7 inch scale, the Big Chap is certainly one you will want to be adding to your collection. A big thank you, though, to the folks over at Hiya Toys that provided this sample of the Alien Big Chap Exquisite Mini that we could have a look at in this review. What do you guys think of the figure? Let me know down below in the comments section. And for your video question for today, what's your favorite movie Alien? What's your favorite look movie Alien? Let me know down below in the comments section. And hey, now, if you are new to this channel, you're enjoying the content that you're seeing, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell notification so you get those friendly reminders, those friendly 411s of whenever new videos are going to be popping up. And we are going to be looking at more Exquisite Minis. If you are a big fan of this size, scale, and company, stay tuned to this channel because there's definitely a lot more Exquisite minis coming your way. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.